Whispers in the dark. Have you ever walked into a house and felt the air change? The moment you step inside, something feels wrong. That's exactly what happened to Emily and her friends. It wasn't supposed to be anything more than a dare, a silly game. But Blackthorn Manor wasn't just any house. It was a house that whispered in the dark. It all started on a foggy Friday evening. Emily, along with her closest friends, Jake, Sarah, and Mark, were looking for something exciting to do. The town had heard stories about Blackthorn Manor for years, strange screams echoing from within, shadows moving without any explanation, and a chilling, oppressive silence that fell over the house every night at midnight. Some said it was haunted, others said it was cursed. But to Emily, it was just a story, until she stood at the rusted gates, staring at the decaying mansion before her. "I dare you to go inside," Jake teased, his voice shaky but excited. Emily, despite her unease, was determined not to back down. After all, this was just a dare, right? She pushed open the heavy gate, which groaned as it swung open. Her heart raced, but she tried to laugh it off. "It's just an old house," she said to herself. But even as she entered, something strange happened. The air grew unnaturally cold, and the leaves around them seemed to rustle even though there was no breeze. Inside the manor, dust hung thick in the air, and the floorboards creaked beneath their feet. Every room they explored seemed to grow darker, colder, as if the house was alive, watching them. "It's just the wind," Sarah said nervously, but even she couldn't deny the unease creeping up her spine. As they walked through the darkened hallways, a low whisper echoed around them, barely audible. At first, they ignored it, thinking it was just the house settling. But then it happened again, clearer this time. The whispers were almost calling them. The whispers grew louder as they followed the sound, their curiosity pulling them deeper into the heart of the house. Finally, they reached a narrow hallway, ending in a door. It was old, with deep claw marks scraped across the frame. The door, somehow, seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy, as if it were alive. The whispers stopped abruptly. Emily's pulse quickened. "What is this place?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The door creaked open by itself. Inside was a small, dimly lit room. There was nothing in it, except for a cracked mirror hanging on the wall. Emily approached it, drawn to it like a magnet. The reflection was blurry at first, but as she stepped closer, the image cleared. Her own face stared back, but something was wrong. Her reflection was smiling at her, even though she wasn't. Her reflection mouthed a word, but no sound came from it. "Leave," the reflection silently said. But Emily was frozen, unable to move. Then, a blood-curdling scream filled the room. It wasn't one of them. It came from the mirror. Suddenly, the door slammed shut and the group found themselves trapped. The whispers grew louder, the air colder. And then, a voice, not from the mirror but from behind them, spoke in a chilling whisper. "You shouldn't have come here." The ground beneath their feet seemed to shift, and the walls seemed to close in. Emily's heart raced as she realized that the house was alive, feeding off their fear, trapping them in its dark embrace. With nowhere to run, the group was forced to confront the truth. Blackthorn Manor wasn't just haunted, it was a prison. A prison for those who dared to uncover its secrets. Emily and her friends never left. No one ever did. But sometimes, when the moon is high and the wind is still, if you stand at the gates of Blackthorn Manor and listen closely, you can still hear the whispers in the dark, calling you inside. And if you're unlucky, you might just find yourself trapped forever. Cue the chilling fade out with a final whisper. You're next.